beautiful dolly friends. I'm Dr. Doll, and welcome to another video. So when we moved into this house, one of the things that was already here that the previous owners had built was this really nice koi pond in the backyard. And honestly, like, the backyard and the koi pond were major selling points to us. It was one of the reasons why we chose this house. And the previous owners had left some like statuary around the pond, and two of them were these very well-worn garden gnomes. Now, I really like garden gnomes. I've had them in the past. Back before kids, when I had time to, be more serious about landscaping and gardening. So we have these two gnomes. We have this one where the paint has just been completely stripped off everywhere. You can see there's like chipping of the concrete, and at one point one of his feet was broken off and then glued back, I guess. So that's the standing one. And then there's also this sitting one. He's got his legs crossed and he's sitting on a stump. And to me, it looks like at some point someone tried to repaint this one and didn't seal it or just didn't do a very good job. So the paint is coming off this one as well, and both of them are pretty well worn, and I don't know that I want to make them look like new again, because there's something kind of charming about a well-worn garden gnome. And I know that they're not exactly dolls, but I do want to go ahead and restore them. I'd like to display them in the garden. I want to kind of give them a new lease on life. So I thought I'd go ahead and make a video about it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just give them a really good bath, scrub them down, get all the dust and dirt and bugs. I can see like a couple of tiny little bugs crawling. So first things first, I'm just going to scrub them in the sink with some soft like dish soap and warm water, and then let them dry. So that is step number one. Okay, so you can see that I have thoroughly scrubbed and washed both of my garden gnomes, and now they are just drying. Actually, quite a lot of dirt came off of them. And we just want to get them nice and clean so that we can put fresh paint on and it'll stick well. And then, of course, we are going to seal them with a UV-resistant sealant so that this won't happen again, so that they can, so that their color will last for many years without it chipping off and looking like this. So one thing I just noticed about this one is that it's actually missing part of its foot. If you look right there, you can see that it looks like his toesies broke off. So we're going to have to make him some new toes. The tip of his hair broke off here too, but I may just sand that down. So there's a couple of different things we can do for this. In the past, I've used epoxy sculpt, which has worked really well. And if I had enough on hand, that's probably what I would use. I've had a lot of creators recommend just air drying modeling clay to me, so I'm going to try that since I have some on hand. If it doesn't work, I will get some more epoxy sculpt. See here that I'm just using some sculpting tools to smooth out that modeling clay and give him some new toes. And then I went ahead, I was going back and forth between putting his hair back or just sanding it down. I went ahead and just put it back on, and so you'll see me sculpting that as well. Now this guy wasn't quite as damaged as his brother was, but he did have that breakage down. It looks like one of his feet was broken at some time and someone glued it back. Luckily they did a good job, so I'm just using the modeling clay to basically fill in that crack and make it look like the break never happened. So a lot of people don't actually realize that you can sand concrete. This is my first experience with it, and it was fairly straightforward, fairly easy. It does create quite a bit of dust, so you might want to wear a mask. But I just used my little Dremel tool, and you can see that I used it was a rounded tip with a flat edge, and I just went through and sanded the breakage points, any points that were sharp, just to smooth them out so that the paint looks a little bit nicer when it goes on. Okay, so yesterday I started the sanding process, but the holes were just like driving me crazy. So I went ahead and filled in some of the really big holes. I still left, I didn't fill all of them because I do want them to kind of look a little bit weathered. It just, my OCD kicked in and I was like, I have to fill more of these cracks and holes. So today it should be dry. I'm just going to do more sanding and then hopefully we'll get to painting. So because these gnomes had been outside for probably years without any type of protective coating, they had lots of just hairline cracks and little pits and dents, and so anyways, that's what I was talking about when I said that the holes were driving me crazy. So I just went over with modeling clay and tried to fill a lot of the major ones, just to smooth it out, make the paint go on smoother, because I want them to look nice. I do want them to look like, they've been in the garden for a little while, but I also don't want them to just look, full of holes and cracks. I want them to look nice. So color-wise, there's a lot of different directions I could have gone with this. I did quite a bit of Pinterest surfing just on gnomes and different style of gnomes. I think based off of the way these are cast, I would say that they're more of the traditional style. And so that's kind of the paint palette, the color palette that I went with was very traditional, stayed in more primary colors, secondary colors, and I also want them to look like they're related, maybe they're brothers. So I don't want them to match, but I want them to coordinate, I want them to look like maybe they have the same mom who used the same fabric to make both of their outfits, or maybe they shop at the same store, they're not the same, but they're definitely close. I'm going to pretend that they're brothers. of the more traditional gnomes that I saw online had matching black belts and black shoes. And I also like how black really contrasts against the colors of their clothes, so that's what I ended up choosing. Biggest problem with painting this guy was figuring out where the shoes began and the pants ended because whoever tried to paint him previously didn't do a great job at actually, like keeping the paint just on the shoes. It looks like they tried to paint the shoes sort of a teal color, but that teal kind of went on the stump and also on the pants, so I had to be really careful not to overdraw. This guy has a plant in between his legs, and I was trying to think about what color to paint it because I didn't want it to blend in with his green tunic. I wanted it to stand out and look different. So I kind of chose this like army green, this like dark yellowy green, because I want to make sure that it looks like a plant and not just part of his clothes. For the belt buckle, I used a gold flake paint. So I believe it actually has like 14 karat gold flakes in it. I just wanted to give it a little bit of an extra pop. I decided to go with white for the beards, and it only took one coat for the standing gnome, but for the sitting one, it looks like someone tried to paint his beard gray, and so that ended up taking 2 or 3 coats of white. In general, it took about 2 coats of each color to cover the concrete completely. am so happy with how they turned out. Honestly, I knew they would look better. I didn't know they would look this much better. I feel like they have just been given a new life. All I did to finish them up was I sprayed 2 clear coats of UV resistant satin finish. I didn't use Mr. Super Clear for this because these particular dollies, as it were, are going to be outdoors in the weather, so I want them to be pretty weather and sun resistant. I just love how they look next to the koi pond, and hopefully our family can enjoy them for many years to come. Thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, may all your dolly dreams come true. Bye guys.